Welcome to Creator You.
All right, guys, in this video, we're going to talk about free traffic and we're going to talk about the hook. You're probably wondering, hey, when are we going to talk about the hook and how do we get traffic to that original lead magnet? And that's what we're going to talk about. When my brother Luke and I started, we didn't have a big budget. And in fact, we didn't run ads for about 2 years. We ran 0 ads. It was all from doing these things I'm going to share with you, kind of some guerrilla marketing tactics that still work today, by the way. So number one, just to kind of reiterate, the goal is we're going to drive all traffic to this. That is the goal. Every time that we get an opportunity, we're not trying to send them to our homepage. We're not trying to send them to our Facebook page. We're trying to get them here first and foremost. That's why we put so much time and energy into creating this lead magnet. Now the hook, in terms of a headline or what to be using, this has worked for us 100% of the time. We keep going back to it. Even if you've never caught a fish before, or even if you're brand new to saltwater fishing, we literally use this headline with one of these 2 phrases in and out for about 7 years. And once again, it's worked every single time. There has to be something that your ideal customer wants to do. That's the how-to, whatever it is, how to lose weight, how to save money, how to become stronger, whatever it is, without an expensive gym membership if you're into weight loss, or even if you've never lost weight before, or even if you've always struggled to do something, this is a hook that you can use over and over again. It's kind of like in fishing, having a hook or a bait that just works everywhere, right? I mean, this is it. Now, let's talk about where we're going to start placing this, right? And number one, and this is what so few people do, is they assume just because you might like TikTok, or you might like Instagram, or you might like Facebook, or wherever you happen to spend your time, you just assume all your customers do. That's not necessarily true. For instance, I don't spend that much time on Facebook. I like Instagram a whole lot better personally, but my ideal customer happens to be a little bit older, right? I have a lot of older anglers. They love Facebook. Facebook happens to be our #1 place to get new customers. You must interview, and that means like go hang out where go to a conference, right? For us, we can go to boat ramps and talk to people. That doesn't mean they're our customers yet. Just kind of tell them what we're doing and say, hey man, like if you don't mind, tell me where do you hang out? Where are you spending your time online? What's your favorite social media platform? And you'll quickly see a trend of where they're hanging out. If you can find out even more in terms of where they spend time online, find out what websites, right? If there's certain forums, if there's certain Facebook groups that they're a part of, start finding that stuff out and remember it. Pick one social platform and own it. So many people, I watch them and it drives me crazy. I just wish I could shake them. They try to like be the best at all these platforms. Find out where your ideal customers are and spend most of your time there, and then start commenting to be as helpful as possible. And here's what I mean. For us in the very beginning days, we didn't have a Facebook group. We were going in other Facebook groups, and that was at the time, that's where a lot of fishing groups were happening. And we were in there, I'm talking like 2 hours a day, every day, and I became known as just a really helpful person. And guess where I would send people if they'd ever ask for help? I'm like, hey man, you guys know a lot about this. Do you have anything you can share with me? I'd send them right here to this. So you always have to be really, really careful not to ever go over that line, because you're constantly going to be towing it, right? Of being helpful versus being spammy. You still want them to be going to your site, but the second you're spammy, you will get kicked out of these groups, and people just don't appreciate that. You don't appreciate it when people are just dropping links in there just for the heck of it. You do have to put a little bit of time in there. That's why it's free, right? And this is why so many people don't do it, is they just want the quick pill and they want to spend ad money. But if you're struggling with that and don't have a massive budget, this is the easiest way, and we get a ton of free traffic that way. Now, a couple other things I want to add. Start a YouTube channel. If you haven't already, you must start a YouTube channel. One of the best investments, and it's free obviously, but it's the best investment of time in putting all the videos that you're constantly making out there on there, not only to host them, but it's a search engine. It's one of the largest search engines in the world, and it is crazy. I remember when we first started the YouTube channel, it took us forever to get from 1 subscriber ourselves and our mom at 2 to 1,000. It took forever, and now we have like 260,000 to put a perspective. And now that's why we're able to get our leads so cheap, is because we spend so much time on these social media platforms, and we have a YouTube channel that is now a search engine for all the fishing knots and all these tips on these 4 species that we continue to do and post here. And guess what we do? We drive them back to our lead magnets in every single one of our videos. And if you're so afraid to get in front of a camera, just spend your time here. And instead of creating little videos, comment and be as helpful as humanly possible. The other one is start a Facebook group. We're helping all these other groups, right? Because we're in there every day and we're being so helpful. Why don't we just start our own? And this, remember this, because this is huge. We started saying, well, we can't just start our own just to start it, right? And there needs to be something different about it. This is how we started a group. We actually said, hey, we're going to be the only fishing group that doesn't allow curse words. People laughed at us at first, but guess what happened? We started attracting a lot of the moms and dads who, you know, had families and didn't want their kids or their wife or spouse or boss to be over their back and seeing all this cursing and all the craziness that goes in these groups. And we started attracting really good people. Find something that no one else is doing well, or some kind of pain point that drives people crazy about the groups out there, and solve for it, and let that be your rule. The other one is forums. It sounds old school depending on your age. You know, forums have been around forever and they continue to keep working. You know, our head of IT, he spends a lot of time in these tech forums, right? Figuring out what's going on in cybersecurity, et cetera. There's many forums for marketing and online marketing, digital marketing. There's forums for ads, you know, for running better ads. There's forums for fishing, and there's forums for boating. And once again, going back, this is more about the social media side of thing, but find a couple forums that still have legs, because a lot of them have died, but there's still some forums in every industry I've seen that still have some legs. And get in there, and same deal, create a username and password, be helpful, go in there, just make a point, hey, I'm going to spend 30 minutes a day in there, and start being helpful. And all of a sudden, you'll start rising to the top. Sometimes they even have them where you're like a rising star, or a rising new person, or even just top commenter, and all of a sudden, you now, having, going back to our video number 1, you now have authority, right? And now all of a sudden people are asking for you to help, and many times you can put a link back to your lead magnet inside of that forum, and we continue to get a ton of free traffic from these forums. Now the final one is news sites, and that could mean everything from your local newspaper to big newspapers to different industry specific newspapers or newsletters or magazines. They are all dying right now for content. Most of these old school magazines still have pretty good readership. They're still there, but they've lost a lot of their editors and their junior editors, and they're looking for people to help them, like, create content, right? So if you give them a piece of content and say, hey, I'm an expert in this, it was amazing how many different little tips, and we would basically just take bits and pieces out of our Intro Fishing Manifesto and give it to different newsletters and some magazines in our industry, and they would gladly publish it to all of their people, and they would start pushing out our content, right? And we would just say, hey, if you don't mind, can we have a call to action? Guess where? To take them to lead magnet. Hey, if you want to download the whole thing, go to this site right here and we'll give it to you for free. It's, you know, how to catch these 4 fish without live bait, or whatever it might be. And oh my gosh, it was crazy. So this is like one of those secret things that most people neglect. You can find 1 or 2 good news sites. They are literally dying for fresh content, and they're dying for experts. So definitely pursue that.